takes off where last season left off. And that's them losing their house because of some random thing, which was Bob bringing in termites from his job and they got out. It's not really a huge problem after they get their house fixed, and it's not really mentioned again. At least not that I remember. We get some new friends, though they were kind of there in season 3. They're definitely used here more. Still not used a lot, though. We get 2 of Teddy's cheerleaders friends when they end up becoming her replacement friends, because Ivy is only in like 3 episodes, and one of them is her goodbye episode, because she's going to college. The first episode is actually about the Muppets, because I guess they were still popular when this episode came out. That's really scraping down the bottom of the barrel. Nothing wrong with the Muppets, it's just, I didn't even think they were popular back then, and I know they aren't now. I kind of wanted Gabe to have his, one last prank in his final episode, but they didn't do that. Speaking of Gabe, his actor Bradley is just amazing. He's just a kid, but I think he's done perfect in all the roles I've seen him in. And I actually kind of want to look up to see if he's in any, more official movies and not just this old Disney stuff and stuff like that. Just to see how good he is. Because sometimes when you watch an actor, like grown-up actors, people that should be experienced, I can't separate them from other characters. But with Bradley, he did a really good job as Gabe and Kaz, and as the dude from the Liar Liar movie. Just every one of his characters, I can separate them. I don't just think, well, all these characters are the same, because they're all pretty different. But that's just my opinion. I'm not gonna praise the actor for the entire review, so let's move on. Teddy dates this new guy, Bo. Spencer B's a toxic asshole, and he's like, well, they have to choose between us, because I don't want to be friends with you anymore. I just want to date you, and you have to date me. And then he just disappears for a bit after she says, well, I want to date Bo. Then she ends up breaking up with Bo. Then she dates Spencer at the end of the final. Which, the only good thing I could say about the end of the final is that we don't have to see any more of Teddy and Spencer. But I still think it's dumb that they treated it like a forever couple. Emmett. I don't know why I said Eddie. Emmett and PJ lose their apartment, I think like 2 episodes later. They make it actually relevant, unlike most episodes. We find out he's living in the treehouse now. And I don't even think they got that rebuilt, but I guess they did. They actually don't do much with that. Gravy comes back for like 1 episode. He's in like 5 seconds of a scene in the 2nd episode, but then he's gone. But yeah, Emmett was just on and off. He had a big presence season 1, but I'm surprised he stayed so long. This season had a lot of reoccurring jokes from previous seasons that weren't very funny. Like, they had the whole Bob scratching his butt but not realizing someone saw several times. And then they brought it up again several episodes later and said he had, like, butt cream or something. It was not funny. It is a kid show, but seriously. Yeah, Teddy's new beau. It didn't last too long. Oh, Murray is kinda back. The dude that played Horace in Mighty Med was briefly a character, I think, back in season 3, might have been season 2, where Bob had talked in a previous episode about his arch rival Murray. So they bring him back in this season for like one episode. It's not really that relevant. And it's like an off-screen thing. And we don't see the actor or any dialogue. But they brought back Murray for whatever reason. But no actor. It was just like, Bob wants to go mess with his arch rival. Oh, he got bit by a spider. I didn't like Bo at all. And Teddy was definitely kind of toxic this season in some episodes. Like when she tried to change that new guy, I think his name was Zach's hair and everything about him, instead of just simply explaining the situation. I thought that guy was nice. They probably would have ruined him eventually if they did end up dating. He seemed like a genuinely good character, unlike most of the characters in this show. Oh, and I actually did remember quite a bit from this season. An episode here and there. I remember the wagon thing. When I thought about this show, that's what I thought about. Was that wagon thing in the intro. So it gave me a little bit of nostalgia. I'm surprised I didn't mention that in my other 3 reviews for the past 3 seasons. But I instantly recognized the wagon one. So that's 3 intros they've done. The ponytail one, the Binky one, and this one. And I actually remember that one. Jesse has a cameo in this. I didn't like the episode, because it was more focused about Teddy going to college, which is basically a lot of this season, is just focusing on about how she got into Yale, what's she gonna do. It's like at least 5 episodes or 6 episodes about that. I didn't like it that much. But anyways, Jesse and Zuri make their little cameo. She gets on the subway, she goes the wrong way, she ends up getting on the right way. Then she meets Zuri and Jesse. They talk a bit, and then it's done. So I don't think it was that good of a crossover. And then they do an off-screen thing, just like they did with Murray, where she calls Jesse because Jesse gave her her phone number off-screen. And Bertram answers, but we don't even hear Bertram. She just says, oh, it's a butler, I'm gonna like this. And then they go to Jesse's house off-screen or something. Or maybe Jesse had Good Luck Charlie have a cameo in it. Kind of like Mighty Med and Lab Rats had a 2-parter, but I seriously doubt that. Just probably them being lazy. But it's kind of weird they had no crossovers whatsoever through 3 seasons, but there's 2 this one, Muppets and Jesse. I think they needed to pull in some ratings before they finish this series off. And then the series ends with Teddy making her final video diary. Toby honestly wasn't in this season that much. I get he's a baby, but they still tried to put Charlie in episodes when she was like really young in the first season. But Toby just shows up here and there. Charlie still shows up quite a bit. Yeah, it's a decent show for the year. And it's kind of funny at times, but I didn't care for this season though. Had its moments, had some decent episodes here and there. But this season really kicked off a lot of the characters. I think a lot of the actors were probably done with this show by now. We saw Miss Dabney like once, and I'm pretty sure it was the final. She was mentioned a few times, but she was never really there. Lauren just kind of disappeared, just like Spencer would do in the first season and whatever seasons they were dating or when they weren't or when they were. It's just very confusing by now, and I watched all 4 seasons. I don't know when they were or weren't dating anymore. It was just on and off, on and off. Show clearly didn't know what to do with that relationship. But, oh yeah, and they actually do mention that Ivy broke up with Raymond, or Raymond broke up with her actually. And I'm pretty sure it was this season. Or maybe I forgot to mention it in my third review, or I did mention it. But yeah, Lauren doesn't do much this season, though. She didn't do much last season, but she was introduced kind of late. Pretty sure it was last season anyway. And they introduced some neighbors. They occasionally show up. A lot of the teachers aren't here anymore. Though they didn't appear too many times either, but they would occasionally be there. Gabe goes to school only when, like, the plot needs hit. They don't really show that he goes to school that much in this show. It's funny. Like, I don't think he went to school in a single episode besides the episode where his dad accidentally bought him a girl shirt, so he got made fun of. And actually a second episode where he accidentally knocked out the toughest kid in school or something. Besides that, he never went to school. Charlie only went to school when they wanted Bob to have this little argument with one of the teachers about dress codes. But sometimes, I'm pretty sure in previous seasons, school wasn't always just a plot filler side thing. Sometimes it would be, sometimes it wouldn't. But it was clearly just for plot device in this season. And I don't even remember PJ graduating from cooking school. But he just quits going to cooking school, and I'm pretty sure they mentioned that he graduated or something. And yeah, I guess that's about it for this season.